It's high noon at the Indispensary in Colorado Springs. Business is booming at one of the state's largest medical marijuana dispensaries. Customers run the gamut of ages and ailments.
Busy day. It's always a busy day, yes sir.
Each strain, a different high. Each bud, a different benefit. Each leaf, treating a different ailment.
Everything from menthol floss to AK-47 to green crack.
Exactly, to blue
creative
dream.
names. Did you name any of these?
No.
The names are quirky, but the owner says this is serious medicine.
How hard is this to do?
Good luck. Good luck. It's tough. It requires persistence, patience, and luck.
This is Josh Stanley and his 5 brothers. They're a handsome, well-educated, tight-knit group, all working together to make millions in Colorado's cannabis madness.
So how have things changed here?
You're looking at new crop. This is a never-ending cycle.
The Stanleys sell many different kinds of medical marijuana. High THC strains tend to be the moneymakers, but they're now famous for growing a less profitable plant called Charlotte's Web. It's low in THC, but high in CBD, cannabidiol. Remember that name. It's the key therapeutic chemical doctors are using to treat everything from chronic pain to lupus to Crohn's disease and epilepsy.
So 80% of this farm is now a high CBD, low THC. I mean, this is the exact opposite of what people think of when they think of marijuana. This won't get you high.
You can set the whole hippie population of Colorado loose on this plant, and you're just going to be looking at a bunch of disappointed hippies.
The Stanleys are not concerned about disappointing hippies. They've seen this plant change lives. They have a brand new lab manned with scientists who are turning their plants into medicines. Brother Joel Stanley is in charge of that part of the business.
It wasn't a world that I knew, so we kind of had to dive into this and learn about how to make plant extract.
Joel was reluctant at first to get involved. He'd avoided marijuana most of his life. But the spring of 2009, he was working in Texas on the oil fields when his oldest brother Josh asked him to join the new family business.
And I laughed because I thought it was just a foot in the door to legalization. I didn't think it was medicinal. The first 3 patients that I met were cancer patients who looked me in the eye and told me that if they didn't have the anti-nausea effects and the appetite stimulant and the help sleeping, that they wouldn't have survived chemotherapy. And I believe them.
That was sort of your time of conversion?
That was my turning point.
And now on this mountainside, they expect to grow more than 1,000 pounds of medical marijuana in 2014. Some is sold to smoke. Some is sold as an oil or a tincture to ingest.
So what we're talking about is literally taking this and turning it into this.
That's right.
The scientists here, some of whom have worked at major pharmaceutical companies, are focused on both making the medications and maintaining strict quality control.
We can test for pesticides, we can test for molds, mildews, we can test for residual solvents.
Testing for contamination. It's one of the biggest hurdles to creating a safe product. In fact, studies on the contamination of medical marijuana are pretty alarming. One Los Angeles case found dangerously high levels of insecticide in 2 out of 3 medical marijuana samples. It's one of the things that concerns mainstream doctors about medical marijuana. Safety, as well as uniformity and reliability.
The major issue that physicians have is in the consistency of the product. How do you know what the person is getting? And the answer is we don't.
Neurologist Dr. Edward Ma is the chief of Denver's Health Epilepsy Program. He is one of several mainstream doctors now researching the Stanley's marijuana after hearing about its dramatic results.
You know, my ears perked up. I was like, well, maybe this is something that we should be investigating.
For years, Dr. Ma steered clear of cannabis because the government classified it as illegal. Yet ironically, when he recently surveyed his own patients, 33% of them were already using medical marijuana.
I was just shocked at how many people were actually using it.
What did you expect before you got those numbers back?
I was guessing maybe 5–10%.
And that is part of the problem. Medical marijuana patients have self-medicated for years, anxious to get relief but with very little guidance on how to do so. That's something that concerns the Wilsons.
I don't know if these people in New Jersey know how to grow these types of strains.
Yeah, none of the
And
dispensary
then-
owners are growers. These are just people who had political connections who got the dispensary.
And by early October 2013, there was only one dispensary open in the entire state. They don't sell a high CBD strain. The Wilsons believe it could still be at least a year before they will. That's a year Vivian might not have.
Every seizure does damage to her brain, to her body, everything. How much longer do we wait?
They've got to do something. Not ready to move, they want to still try it. So they're going to leave their familiar neighborhood behind to see firsthand if the marijuana they've heard so much about could help Vivian.
Do you think this is going to work? And for me, it has to work, because if it doesn't, then I don't know where that leaves us.
Just days later, Vivian Wilson gets ready for the trip of a lifetime. A trip filled with danger, since all the stimulation of a plane ride could induce seizures high up in the sky. Vivian's future and life is on the line.